Yo, what's going on? Welcome. Today I want to talk about something that I think is really important when it comes to production or being a musician or just being creative in a musical space. And that is not spending all of your creative time making music, but sometimes setting aside the time to actually listen to music and be well versed as a music fan in general. I know this sounds kind of obvious because anyone who makes music likely listens to a lot of music as well, but to me it's important for two reasons. One, if you spend all your time just creating music on your own, you can start to lose that inspiration because you're continuously just doing the same thing over and over and not getting inspiration from anything external. And two, I have come across a lot of producers in the past who only listen to the type of music that they like to make, and that can be limiting because you're only going to get inspiration and ideas from the things that you are making already. When you find a type of music that you don't make but are still really passionate about as a fan, a lot of the things that you like about that music can transcend that genre and you can input into your own. And to me, that's the most inspirational and valuable tool you can have as a producer or musician. So if you're looking to be exposed to something that you may or may not be already listening to, I've created 3 playlists on Spotify. One playlist is on Italian soundtracks, one is on low-tempo soul, and one is on Brazilian soul. So if you're looking to try to listen to a few different genres just to see what you think, or if you're already into the genres, just a few songs that you might be interested in, the link's in the description and those are all on my website. The purpose of the playlist isn't to go on there and find a bunch of samples. It's just to listen to and be inspired by, hopefully. But that being said, there are a lot of songs on there that can be sampled if that's what you're looking for, and that's exactly what we're going to do today. The track that we're going to be sampling today is from the Italian soundtrack playlist, and it's called It's Possible Again. Make sure you go check out the track if you're into it. Again, there's a lot of things on there that are really inspirational, and if you're looking for a few samples to pull from, there may be something on there that you'll have fun with. So let's sample a track into the MPC, I'll chop it up, and then we can start moving on this beat. Let's do it. So I have this sample loaded up and chopped in the MPC. Here's a little taste how it sounds. I really love the textures of this sample, so I want to slow it down a little so we can bring those up. So I'll turn the semi down to -4. I have the BPM of this beat set to 87, so let's just record a sample chop and we can start working on this beat. Let's do it. I'm super psyched about that chop. Because we're playing it faster than the original song, it's got a really nice shuffle, and because there's not too much percussion, I think we'll be able to add in a lot of our own and really make this beat our own. So let's start adding in some percussion into this. Based on the sound of this sample, I think I'd like to use a ride cymbal rather than a hi-hat, so I have a ride cymbal loaded up right here. I'm going to put that onto 16 levels, and then we can play that at a bit of a varying velocity just to give a little bit of depth. Let's do it. Now that we've done that, let's add the kick and snare, and you'll see that because we kept it a pretty simple pattern, the kick and snare will really cut through nicely. I'm also going to turn the time correct off on this so it's not perfectly on the grid. So we now have a basic drum pattern to go with this beat, and I think the drum sounds and the pattern matches the sample really well, but our sample's really simple, so I think we should add a little bit more to the drums just to have something that catches your ear a little bit, and it makes it a little bit less repetitive. One thing I like to do in that scenario is change up a little bit of the snares. So you can either have 2 snare sounds or a couple different snare sounds with just slight variation. That way it just sounds a bit more live. Or one thing I like to do is just layer something over the snare, but not on every single hit. So I have this open hi-hat sound. It's pretty quiet and pretty subtle, but I'm going to layer that on top of 2 of the snares in this entire sequence. That way it just has a little bit more variation. Here's how it's going to sound. Another thing that's good to try to do to make your drums sound a little bit more live is to add something in that was done by a human drummer and is tough to emulate on something like an MPC. A good example of that is a snare roll. Sometimes when you're playing drums, you'll do like a little bit of a snare roll before you do a kick or just between full snare hits. I have one on this pad right here. So again, I'm going to put that sound just in a couple places in this pattern. That way it just gives it a little bit more variation, makes it sound a bit more live, and gives more of a full sound to this short sequence. You'll notice that I have that snare roll turned down quite a bit. It's not something that I want really standing out because, again, if it was a real drummer doing it, they'd almost just be letting the drumstick fall on the snare. It's not something you're really making at the forefront. It's just more of something that you hear in the background and gives it a bit more texture. But I really like where this beat's going so far. Let's make another sequence. We'll do another sample chop and then we can add drums on top of that. Let's do it. I think this beat's coming together really well, so let's fill it up with some bass and we'll keep it moving. Okay, I think that wraps it up for this beat. This is a bit of a short video, but when it comes to your production, if you feel like you're losing inspiration, try stepping away from the MPC, the sampler, the synth, and just listening to music and getting well connected with that passion that you have for it again. Because sometimes inspiration can come from odd places, and it may not be from the music that you're actually making, and it may be something completely different. So again, if you want to check out those playlists I put on the website, there's a link in the description. Thank you so much for hanging out as always. Hope you like how the beat turned out. Love you so much. Peace.